Here's a whole bunch of birding tips that have almost nothing to do with birds. It's for beginners, but experts might get something out of this too. For one thing, experts aren't always right. But the whole point about birding is not to be right all the time, it's to have fun all the time. Beginners, you're going to get a lot of advice from experts. In fact, I even brought one along, Bob Duchesne. He's going to give you a lot of advice, and you should ignore it. Wait, what? Ignore your advice? What did I do wrong? Well, for most of your life, everything. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Experts are going to see things that you don't see right away. Experts are going to hear things you don't hear. Experts are going to hear things you don't hear. In fact, just to hear an expert talk about how many birds he or she has seen in their lifetime is going to be rather intimidating if you've only got several dozen. But that's the exciting part. You've got a whole world of discoveries ahead of you, a whole lot of new birds waiting to happen. For the expert, most of those discoveries and all that excitement is behind him. It's kind of sad, really. If you're off on a walk or a tour, here's some advice from an expert you might get. Be quiet. Well, quieter. Yeah, some birds are sensitive to noise, but some of them aren't. A lot of walks take place in populated areas, maybe city parks, where the birds are really used to people walking by and having conversations. Really, unless you do something weird, you're not going to bother them all that much. On a boardwalk where people are confined, you may not bother the birds at all. This is Waxahachie Wetlands in Palm Beach, Florida. Wood storks, great blue herons, anhingas, and cormorants nest so close to the boardwalk, you can touch them. At Corkscrew Sanctuary in Naples, Florida, don't be surprised if you're on the boardwalk and a limpkin just strolls right on by. Really, most common birds are accustomed to people. If you don't do anything weird, like walk off the trail into the woods, or if you don't walk up to the nest, or if you don't do a whole lot of people surrounding the bird, it's not going to be all that uncomfortable. If you're off on a walk or a tour of some kind and there's a lot of chatter, you might not make it difficult on the birds, but you could make it tough for the guide to find the birds for you. Well, in my experience, if you have a lot of chatterboxes on your walk, they tend to hang back towards the end and keep up the conversation away from what's going on up front. It's not usually that big a problem. Yep, and and if you don't see everything that everybody else is seeing, speak up, because it's our job to get you on these birds. We'd love doing it. Don't crowd the bird. And that's partly true. Some birds are skittish, sure, but some really are not that shy, especially anything from the north that comes down, because where they breed, they don't know what a human is. So they don't really see much of a threat unless you crowd them too closely. There are some spruce grouse I've met that if you don't go in after them, they'll come out after you. Shorebirds, I swear, the smaller they are, the closer you can get without disturbing them. Least sandpipers, you can walk right up. Purple sandpipers, same thing. Sanderlings on a beach, they will walk right past your beach blanket. Every species has its own comfort level, and with a little practice, a little observation, you can figure out what that is. Don't wear bright colored clothing. Yeah, up to a point. Oh, come on, give me this one. Some birds use color as a sign of aggression or to defend territory. Red-winged blackbird flashes that red when it's defending its territory. Yellow and white are frequently warning colors. But I can't think of anything that's worried about blue. I can't think of anything blue that would eat a bird. Some birds are attracted to color. How many times have you been buzzed by a hummingbird because you were wearing red? I do think about what I'm wearing. I don't. And I've seen exactly the same number of birds that you have. I think they're more interested in my behavior than my color. Don't be fooled by color. Everybody is fooled by color, even experts. Plumage may be different because of the season, or the age of the bird, or the sun angle may be funny, or the backlight may be tricky. The difference is that an expert recognizes some other clues the bird is spinning off and quickly corrects any misimpression. And with a little bit of practice, you'll get that too. Speaking of practice, one of the first things a beginner should do is get used to the binoculars. Never look for a bird like this. You've got no field of view. It's just little tiny windows, like looking through a porthole. And you've got no depth of field. You may be looking directly at the bird, but it's blurry because you're not focused in the right place. The correct thing is to keep your binoculars down here and look for movement. And then when you see the movement, then you can put the binoculars exactly where that bird is. It doesn't take long to make it a habit, and then you just do it automatically. Don't even think about it. There is one exception, and that is if somebody gives you precise directions about where to look. Let's say there's one tree out there, and he says, or she says, it's right at the top of it. Then it might work. Be aware that many birders are bad at giving directions. What's your point? They'll say, it's in the tree over there, pointing at the entire forest. Or it's down there in one of those 100 bushes. Or up there in the sky. Or it's out there in the ocean. That's not much help. You need landmarks, something to navigate from. Follow me. See those 3 tall trees? Go to the top one in the middle, go 1 tree to the left. It's halfway down the left-hand side on the outermost branch. Or see that yellow house out there in the far side of the marsh? Go 1 binocular to the left and about half the distance closer, and there's a little tuffet of soil there, and that's where the bird is. Some people are just terrible at giving directions. So give that person some help. Ask, is it in the blue sky or in the cloud? Is it below or above the horizon when it's in flight? That marsh out there, there's a stump. Is it closer to the left from that stump in the middle? Here's one you screw up all the time. Telling what species of tree the bird is in. Look, I'm from Maine. I've got white pines and some red pines. If you're from the south, you know yellow pine, you know loblolly pine. A western birder knows lodgepole, ponderosa, and pinyon pines. Many westerners may know a Douglas fir, but maybe not a balsam fir. And a lot of people here in the east confuse birch and aspen, or don't know the difference between a fir and a spruce. And how many people know that a tamarack, a hackmatack, and a larch are all the same tree? Don't blame a beginner if your directions are just bad. I have got to stop giving directions by tree species type. Don't use Merlin. Experts don't talk about technology all that much, but Merlin is the free downloadable bird identification app from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Some people say you shouldn't use it. I don't say that. I didn't say you did, but you kind of implied it. Yes, it is often wrong, and beginning birders shouldn't get dependent on it, but technology always advances. 200 years ago, birding was done with a shotgun. Binoculars didn't become common until 100 years ago. Guidebooks weren't around until about 90 years ago. And look how fast camera gear has advanced. It's a tool, and like with every other tool, sometimes you hit your thumb with a hammer. And I know I'm weird, but sometimes on a walk, I don't mind if people use Merlin standing right next to me. Let's see if I can beat the little bugger. And people love it when Merlin and I argue. Sure, Merlin makes mistakes, but then so do I. It's an educational tool, and really the best part is it can help people understand what birds are around them that they didn't know were there. People get dependent. Oh, I agree. Birding is much better if you develop your own birding by ear skills. I do worry about binoculars that can identify birds for you. Yeah. At some point, you're not going to have a pair of $5,000 Swarovski AI-connected binoculars hanging around your neck. At some point, you may as well just be watching TV. Exactly. When beginners stay dependent on identification technology, they stay beginners, which is okay if you want to. Get out of bed early. Well, oh, come on. Not always. In the spring, birds start singing like crazy before the sun even breaks the horizon. And the dawn chorus is really loud at 4:30 in the morning. But on a typical spring morning, especially if it's quite cool, and it took me a long time to figure this out, birds may go a little quieter till the sun starts to warm up, say around 7 a.m. Insects start moving more. They get more enthusiastic about singing again. After that, the birds may pick up again around 7 and go until the wind picks up, or 9 o'clock, whichever comes sooner. In fact, that's just spring. For the rest of the year, you can sleep a little later. In fact, hawk migration, around here, they don't even get started till 9 a.m. Wintering waterfowl are present all day. Finches in winter are incredibly noisy, especially first thing in the morning, but they keep going well into noon and even later. Okay. Sleep late. So you know another thing you do? Forget that common birds are interesting. You're out there in front of the group trying to find unusual birds while ignoring the usual birds. And for somebody who's just starting out, a common yellowthroat is just as exciting as a Canada warbler. Red-breasted nuthatches are a dime a dozen around here. But if I'm birding with somebody from, let's say, southern Texas, it's a way cool bird. So here's some advice I never hear experts say. Be weird. For most of eternity, society has given birders the side eye. We were geeky nerds. It was even a running joke on television's Beverly Hillbillies in the 1960s. The non-birding world doesn't know that we walk miles, we climb mountains, we navigate oceans. We fight mosquitoes, we brave bears, we dodge moose, we paddle with alligators. Birding should be an Olympic sport. We're tough. Dress how you want. Have you seen the way golfers dress? And they go around in carts. They try to stay out of the rough. We go right in. Let's get them. I'm with you. You know, from time to time, the birding community is described as being unwelcoming to new birders. It can be a little intimidating when you're with an advanced birder and they seem to know everything by sight and sound almost instantly. Sure, we've got a few advanced birders who come across as condescending know-it-alls, but so does every other pursuit. By the time you get to our age, we've pretty much made every mistake there ever was. We're done making new mistakes. Now we're just remaking the old ones. So, there's a lot of mistakes to be made, so you better get started. Welcome, beginners. You're not just the future of birding, you're the present. So come along on a walk with us. Welcome, kids. Go ahead, be noisy. Let your attention wander. All I ask is that maybe you just leave anything with a screen on it behind for a little while. Welcome, spouses. We know you get dragged into this, but you deserve a good time too. So come along with us and maybe you'll see a few things that surprise you. Welcome, photographers. Make no mistake, birding and photography are two different hobbies, two different passions, and you do them differently. It's not just about what you're looking at. It's all about framing a good composition with the right settings and good light, even though that light is changing constantly. You think getting binoculars in a bird is hard, try it with a 400mm lens. One thing I wish experts would teach more is birding ethics. But that's another video. One more bird and let's go get a beer. You're buying. I bought last time. Why do you get like this?